Right, let's look at those stories trending today. We've got Liz Taylor with us this afternoon. Afternoon to you, Liz.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
Yeah, really good. Thank you. I want to start with current travel restrictions. We're going to talk about a little bit more about this later. But the fact that you've been away and also your take on holidaying alone. Right, let's start with those.
Well, I've had the best week. I have had the best week, and I could tell you a million stories. But you know what? And I have to bring this up because I'm sure everyone will resonate with this. I enjoy going away on my own. I find it very therapeutic, and I go out for dinner on my own, and I sit and I watch families of 4 and 6 and whatever, all on their mobile phones. Nobody has a conversation. I talk more to myself than they did at the dinner table. And you know what? Honestly, it's unbelievable. But what was really sad was I decided to go from Liverpool Airport because I was working the night before and I left at 4 a.m. By 12 o'clock, I was sat on the beach. There were 50 people on the flight out. There were 15 people on the flight back. Nobody has a clue whether you're green, whether you're amber, whether you're red, whether you're going to be amber plus, whether you're going to be red plus, whether you're going to be green. The whole thing is a total and utter fiasco. And until I think the most sensible thing, and I hope that they do this, is that if you leave one colour, you come back the same colour. So if you go out and it's amber, then you are allowed to come back and it's amber. Because I just don't know how they're going to get that industry back working again.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Were you hesitant about going out for that reason? The fact that the colour, the traffic light system could have changed on you?
I was more worried about the paperwork, and I watched, particularly coming in, there was a flight actually from Romania that landed before my flight from Portugal, and obviously they were not familiar with the paperwork. They didn't know that they had to have the contact form and the this form and the that form, and they were not treated sympathetically, and I thought that it was a real sign of the times. They were herded to one side. And, you need a degree to work out what you need to go with, and it's expensive. So I had to have a jab before I went, and I had to have a PCR test before I went. Then I had to pay for a PCR test for 2 days after I got back. And then I had to get the locator form, and then I had to do it while I was out there. And, it takes the edge, doesn't it, off the holiday? I don't know whether you've got any plans.
Yeah, well, do you know, we're going to Wales for that very reason, that we can't be bothered with it all, to be quite honest. We're thinking, right, we'll support at least, the UK holiday industry. Wales is beautiful, and actually I think we've got quite a good week. But
I don't believe you. I think you're going because you're on I'm a Celeb.
We're going to talk about that in a moment.
I know we are, because that's in Wales. You've let the cat out of the bag now, haven't you? Now it's a toss-up between you and Eric Cantona, who's the hot favourite.
Well,
but we will come back to that. But I think, yes, look, would I go again? I actually love Portugal. When I travel alone, I go to Portugal and I go to Turkey, and they're my safe places that I recharge. And the events industry, is just flying back at the moment. And I needed to I'd had 18 very, very intense months, so it was great. But it is. It's not relaxing at the best of times travelling. Everyone wants to be at the front of the queue, and then, you can't queue for the loo, so you've got to cross your legs for 2.5 hours, and you've got to wear a mask. I mean, it's a little bit like the Silence of the Lambs, but hey-ho, that's the way it is.
And, I'm more impressed about the fact you holiday on your own. And this is entirely down to me, and it is my problem, but I can't do anything on my own. I can't go to the cinema, can't go to the theatre, couldn't sit in a cafe bar on my own. I'm just terrible at doing things on my own.
You've left yourself wide open here. You know why?
Go on.
Because you're a man.
Oh, really? You think men are terrible on their own?
Useless. Behind every successful man, there is a woman. They're absolutely useless because, you get that whole thing. I've had many years going away with my husband, and at first I was terrified doing it on my own, but I haven't got... Where's my T-shirt? Where should I put my dirty washing? What time? I love it. I get up, I go to the gym, I go and have my breakfast, I go down to the beach. The only challenge that I had, and there's definitely something to this, I couldn't put cream or oil on my back. You've got to be a bloody contortionist. So what I did a deal with the guy who did the beds on the beach, and I said, look, I'm not coming on to you, but you're going to have to put oil on my back.
I'm sure he was delighted.
I'm sure he loved it. Some pluses, yeah.
That. Next time, Liz, take a spatula. I'm just saying. Right, I'm a Celebrity. It's coming back to North Wales. I won't be going in there, but it's back in the castle. Do you think it worked last time?
Well, listen, it's a great. Everyone loves it. I think it's far more glamorous overseas, but I think it did work, and I also think it's quite nice to bring it back, maybe to basics a bit. Listen, never mind the destination. Have you seen who's going?
Well, I've seen the list of people who might go in. I mean, I think this is the producer's dream list. Whether they'll quite actually get these people in there.
Well, for me, Cantona, now I've met Eric Cantona because I used to do all the United Cup final passes, and he is the hottest, most
really?
lovely man. Yeah. So I'm debating whether to go and actually sort of, work behind the scenes or open my black book and see if somebody can get me out there. And then you've got the guy, the bagger, from RuPaul's Drag Race. He's going to be a scream. Katie Price's ex-husband. I mean, that's all going to be censored, isn't it? Jenny Ryan from The Chase.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Richard Arnold from Good Morning Britain. I mean, he's going to be a laugh a minute, isn't he?
We're slowly pecking down the order here, aren't we? We started quite high there, and we're at Richard Arnold. It was all going so well, wasn't it? Listen, Liz, we'll talk more in a couple of minutes' time. We're going to talk about the Pingdemic and the Olympics. We've got to bring you today's update. It's just gone 4:30.
BBC Radio Manchester.
I tell you what, Liz, you have started a whole debate in our office talking about whether you'd go away on holiday on your own. It's a great subject, isn't it? Have you found...
Listen, I've got 4 pages. I mean, there's some quite rude stuff, so I can't actually share it with you on air. But it's actually very, very funny because it's interesting when you sort of look at it introspectively, if that's the right word. Yeah, we should have a vote. Who will and who won't?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it?
You'll never go away with anyone else again if you go away on your own, ever.
The closest I've come was that I met some friends in Marbella once, and I flew out to them and then flew back on my own. And I kind of liked that. I liked the fact that it was down to me to find out, which gate the plane was coming from, and
How old were you then?
Oh, it's only going back about 10 years. So I kind of enjoyed it, though. I enjoyed, being on the flight, and I got a front seat, and all the air hostesses were talking to me, and it was just quite a nice experience, actually. But I
know, and also people feel a bit sorry for you. Well, people are very intrigued by people travelling on their own, and so it's quite nice, and you imagine what they're thinking. It's very funny. Anyway, listen, I love it. I've been doing it for a while now, and I don't have to answer to anybody.
Good on you. Right, this is events planner Liz Taylor, who's looking at the stories trending today. Can we talk about the Pingdemic, which continues to cause all sorts of problems?
Well, I mean, in my industry, let me just give you an example. I have got an event a week on Saturday. I've got a band flying in from France. And I've been back and forth like a yo-yo with what I can and can't do. But I now have to fly them in 10 days before, pay for them to be isolated, pay for 3 PCRs in order for them to perform. If any of them get pinged, then they can't come. So the money that's been invested has been lost. It's a total fiasco. And I've had staff off who've been pinged. I mean, I think the problem is that I actually don't believe in the whole pinging thing. I think that if you are with somebody that tests positive, you go, you get a test. There are so many places that you can get free tests, and there's no cost implication. And you're sensible. You have the lateral flow. And I think that we should be able to make our own decision. The government have done what they can for the last 18 months, but otherwise we're going to be living in Pingland. It's going to be horrendous.
Well, I have to say, lateral flow tests have overtaken the app for me in that, because I'm coming into work on a daily basis, obviously a lot of people in the office. I then work in Rob, my partner's shop, on a Saturday. I just like to make sure that I'm okay. So every day I just take one of these lateral flow tests. We ended up paying for some of them. And, thankfully so far everything has come back fine. And to me, that is more reassurance than if I got a notification on my phone and, I could have been walking past somebody whose phone had been alerted and I could have therefore been alerted myself. I just... That technology hasn't really worked for me.
I agree with you, and I don't think it's justifiable either. I think it's just something that they've put into the mix And for me, it doesn't work. Life is getting back to normal. The hospitality industry has been horrific. We're seeing, things are happening. People are planning for Christmas. Let's get on with it. Be sensible. And, the figures prove themselves. There is a lot less in hospital. There's a lot less deaths. It's going to be here with us for a long time, as the flu has been. So fingers crossed. Anyway, have we got time to talk about Boris and Carrot and what's her name and the baby?
Did you want to? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let me tell you this. This is what I think, and I don't know what the listeners think. But did she really have to share that she had a miscarriage? Was it really necessary for us to see on the headlines over the weekend a rainbow baby? Having a miscarriage is traumatic. My elder daughter had to give birth at 21 weeks to a little baby girl, and we didn't really. Well, I've shared it now, I suppose, but we didn't share it. But what's the point? And then on the page 3 of the Daily Mail, it has that Dylan the dog's being neutered. Well, I've got to tell you, who do you think should be neutered? He's got about 8 children.
I'm going to leave it there, Liz, because there is no comeback line after that. Bless her, I love her. Liz Taylor, event planner, looking at the stories which are trending today.